people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. You may have heard that Remy Martin recently released a diss track where she's having a go at not only her old beau, Papoose, but his new main squeeze, Garcia Shields.
Not at all subtle. Very obvious when you listen to the lyrics.
Lyrics that I'm not at liberty to play back for all of you here on the channel, as that would incur copyright issues, a potential copyright strike. Still, Remy's made a conscious decision to have a go at what's supposed to be one of the best women boxers in the world, if not the best woman boxer in the world. Is it wise for her to do that?
Remy Martin may be able to exceed Garcia Shields in terms of attractiveness, in terms of cultural relevance to the hip-hop community, but in terms of fighting, she'd be a fish out of water. She'd be out of her depth.
So is it wise to poke the bear?
And the thing about it is, Garcia Shields might very well be the better fighter by and large of the two, of course. She fights for a living. There's no chance that Remy Martin could beat Garcia Shields in a boxing ring or a street fight.
She's not trying to, and the mistake I think that a lot of boxers make is the idea that the rest of the world is going to play by your rules. Meet you in what is your arena, your area of expertise. No, it's not going to, and Remy's not going to.
You know, I said that Garcia Shields, in leaving the boxing space and entering a more mainstream space like the hip-hop space, she'll find that the audience there, the people there, are a lot less cooperative. They're not going to step on eggshells and be careful with their words the way that people in the boxing space are, out of respect, out of acknowledgement for Garcia Shields' accomplishments within the sport. Outside of that bubble, the rest of the world doesn't care. Remy doesn't care.
Remy doesn't have to.
If Garcia Shields tries to get froggy and leaps towards a Remy Martin, that could blow up in Clarissa's face. Let's not kid ourselves here. Remy Martin isn't going to try to beat you in a street fight. You get froggy and you leap and try to have a go at her. That's what the gun plays for.
Remy Martin is not some upstanding citizen, you know. This is a broad who's already done time.
Ain't that some pussy shit?
Well, forgive me for saying so, but criminals and criminality in a very general sense and hood culture does not pride itself on its stoicism or its nobility.
It's fairness.
There's nothing fair or noble or virtuous about these people in a very general sense. If you think there is something cowardly about someone pulling a gun on a Garcia Shields or a professional fighter, well, there probably is, but
hood culture is predicated on cowardice.
How many of these guys don't rat each other out? And how many of these guys don't kill each other in cold blood?
Many of these girls.
Hood culture is a culture of degeneracy, not nobility. These are not knights at a round table.
Well, would it be some pussy shit if Remy Martin pulled the tool out on a Garcia Shields? Yeah, maybe you could interpret it that way, but that's the kind of stuff happens all the time!
And that is the world that Garcia Shields has so chosen to immerse herself in, more than the world of commercial success, commercial and corporate sponsorships, and being a brand ambassador, having universal appeal. Clarissa, after all these years, still goes out of her way to act like a degenerate.
And that's what she wants to appeal to. That is what she wants to be a part of. That culture, that degeneracy. You know she's already tried her hand at being a rapper herself.
Garbage.
So when you lie down with dogs, don't be surprised if you wake up with fleas.
I said that. Exiting the boxing space, Garcia Shields would find that the audience outside of that bubble will not be as cooperative as what she has experienced.
They're not going to grovel at your feet.
You can box, you can win some titles, a lot of them across a lot of weight classes, but that means very little within the hip-hop community.
Because they're not boxers, and they're not trying to box you. So the one good thing you're good at, it doesn't really matter in that space.
Go fucking around with Remy at your peril. convicted criminal, because you are now spinning like a top on what is her ex-boyfriend's pogo stick.
Because you're letting him land his plane on your landing strip.
Leaving the boxing space has not been kind to Clarissa Shields. She's fast become the butt of a lot of jokes across social media from content creators who don't even really cover boxing but still have sizable audiences. She seems a joke to them.
Attention starved to me. Now she's getting attention more than before, but it's not good attention.
Picking a fight with Remy Ma, not necessarily a boxing match. I don't know this is a fight that Clarissa can win.
Yeah, it was what it was. I think, it was difficult because Regis couldn't really stand up. You could tell from even the first round his leg wasn't, but yeah, not the best, but he's had a lot to deal with, and I wish him all the best.
Put that down to the weight.
I think he's better up at middleweight, to be honest with you. I don't think he has any power down at that weight, and I think he looked much more effective and stronger up at middleweight.
Free agent now, would you take him back?
Is he? Yeah, right.
I don't think that was the best Conor Benn, and Regis Prograde did well. Regis is a good fighter. He's been in. I think it was the hardest opponent Conor's ever had in terms of boxing ability. But yeah, it wasn't. Not a good time to be a free agent after a performance like that.
Conor, free agent now, would you take him back?
It was shite, apparently. Again, that's what the man up there said, not me.
Is Conor Benn really a free agent? That's what preliminary reports state, but I maintain that I hardly think they would have paid him what they paid him to fight Regis Prograde, to use him only once. That would have been a vulgar display of power.
And an even more frivolous use of resources to kick out that kind of cash for that kind of fighter and that kind of fight.
To use him only once. They're saying that Conor Benn's dealings with Zuffa Boxing are done, yet I don't know that he was ever actually dealing with them, since the money to pay him didn't come from Zuffa or Paramount, it came from Turkey El Sheikh. The show itself was not a Zuffa Boxing promotion. It was not Dana White at the helm of the promotion, it was Spencer Brown. So was Conor Benn ever actually in bed with Zuffa Boxing? We saw the video where he had a sit-down meeting with Dana White.
Is he in bed with them now?
Sort of nebulous subject, though what's not nebulous are the reactions to Conor's performance. There are a lot of people out there, Eddie Hearn, Frank Smith, the boxing community at large, that are looking at how he looked yesterday, and they are not impressed. I'm not either.
He looked like shit.
As he makes his way down from 160 down to 150 for yesterday's fight to ultimately land back at 147, where he might land a Ryan Garcia fight. Ryan Garcia, who Conor Benn called out immediately following his decision win over a faded Regis Pagarius.
Yeah, great. I want Ryan Garcia next. I want that belt. It's hard to, I can't say get up for the fight, because I always train hard, but ultimately, it was a run-out fight. It turned out to be a good fight, and Regis is a great fighter, two-time former world champion, but I want that world title next.
In truth, the Ryan Garcia fight and the WBC title is what Conor was looking at before we got to this point. Here and now, it's what he's still looking at, but how viable is that if he's a free agent?
Well, is he a free agent?
On the predication that he is a free agent, who's supposed to pay for the fight between him and Brian Garcia? Golden Boy Promotions? I'm sorry, but I don't think Golden Boy by themselves can get up the money to pay a Conor Benn, the kind of money that he is looking for. I don't think they can handle that promotion all by themselves.
What about Turkey El Sheikh?
A Saudi intervention, a Saudi cash injection, in the event that Conor's a free agent, that might get the fight done on the premise that they can afford to pay Conor and they can afford to pay Ryan.
Ryan is actually willing to do it. Reacting to Conor Benn's call-out, Brian Garcia said, "I'm down. Garcia versus Benn. Let's do it!"
Yeah. Garcia, I want my belt. Keep my belt warm. September, let's go. Any day of the week, twice on Sundays. 10 rounds easy. Garcia, you're next. Keep my belt warm.
Not knowing if Conor Benn is a free agent or is he tied to Zuffa somehow? Are they going to be involved?
The fight could still happen.
If he is a free agent, if he's not a free agent, his focus still seems to be getting the green and gold title.
Can he?
Well, I don't actually like Conor Benn's chances in that fight. His power seems to be waning the more he makes his way back down to 147, where he will feel depleted and Ryan Garcia will not.
The Conor Benn 147, he's going to be tight at that weight, where Ryan Garcia, for him it's a breath of fresh air. He used to fight all the way down there at 135.
He's not tight at the weight. For him, it's a breath of fresh air. I'm not a fan of Ryan Garcia or his boxing.
But I think that against Conor Benn, he can win, and he can rack up a highlight reel knockout based on what I saw yesterday.
That he could easily bait Conor Benn into a counter left hook or a big right hand down the middle. And what could be an entertaining fight, because Conor Benn is an action fighter, albeit a flawed one. He's a come-forward customer, and
Ryan is a homo.
Transatlantic fight between two very popular fighters, because they are both popular whether you like them or not. You know them.
You may not like either of them, but you know of them, so they are both popular.
Negotiating a Conor Benn showdown, a transatlantic showdown, might actually be easier for Ryan and Golden Boy than doing a rematch with Devin or a rematch with Rolly.
This is in spite of Conor Benn's nebulous promotional situation.
The Devin Haney fight, the rematch, because of all the backstory and all the controversy, does yield commercial value, more than the first fight did, but Devin's gonna want a lot of money. Devin and his father are gonna want to act like they're the ones in control when they're not. They need that rematch more than Ryan does.
The rematch is big, but so is a Conor Benn fight, and Conor Benn, unlike Devin Haney, is actually worth something.
Rolly Romero fight, the Rolly Romero rematch. I would argue that Ryan needs that rematch, but that's not going anywhere. Rolly Romero is not otherwise preoccupied with anything right now. Fighting Conor doesn't close the door on running it back with Rolly. You do what you need to do with Conor, then circle back for Rolly.
He's not going anywhere.
If you're Oscar De La Hoya, if you're Golden Boy Promotions, and Turkey El Sheik is willing to pay for this fight between Ryan and Conor, you let him. Let him do it. You're still going to get your cut.
Of what is a very big fight, a very big purse.
You're still going to get your cut. At no expense to you. You don't have to go in Golden Boy's budget and find the money to put it all together. Let somebody else do it, and you get your cut.
Ryan Garcia can beat Conor Benn. I think the boxing world collectively knows that.
Whether they want to take that fight over to Netflix, or they want to bill it as a DAZN pay-per-view, if you're Oscar and you're Golden Boy, you let them go through with the fight. Let them do it. Ryan will win.
You'll make some money, not having to do a goddamn thing.
Third option, be Zuffa for a multi-deal, would you say?
Well, I mean, they were great to us. They gave us a tremendous deal. Nothing bad to say about them. In fact, I have everything good to say about them. Zuffa, Dana White, Netflix, and of course, my good friend Nick Khan. Nick Khan is obviously a legendary business executive, but more important, he's a great human being. He's fair, and like I said, we did great business with them. We will sit down with them, but we'll also see what's out there, right? Connor's a free agent. It was a one-fight deal, but the target will be to fight Ryan Garcia. Yeah. And again, everything else is in the past and looking to move forward.
Moving forward, if Ryan is the target, there are only so many ways that can happen, but the mission statement is, it can happen.
The financials in association with the bout are sure to get the World Boxing Council's blessing. They're the ones who made the decision to rank Conor Benn at number 1.
Conor Benn, not even having fought as a welterweight in something like 3 or 4 years, they still decided to rank him at number 1. So you know they'd be on board.
Ryan is.
Ryan wants to do it, and who could blame him? It's an easy lick for what could be a lot of money. Keith Connolly basically confirmed that Zuffa had something to do with yesterday's event. What specifically, we don't know.
I'm not really seeing how Zuffa was tied to yesterday's show. The purse came from Turkey, and the promoter was said to be Spencer Brown.
It's very vague to me. In what capacity was Conor Benn dealing with Zuffa boxing? But if they were at all tied to that show and that particular fight, is that supposed to be how they change the game and subsequently monopolize it? Helping to overpay Conor Benn for a layup that he didn't even look good in.
Wouldn't that make them part of the problem? Isn't this the kind of thing that Dana White used to criticize the boxing people over?
I just don't understand it. And what else might keep Zuffa boxing in the picture and in the frame for a Conor Benn fight? Teofimo Lopez.
What do you think of Conor Benn's performance tonight?
Great. You know, hey, it's coming back down in weight. What's up, guys? Yeah, hopefully soon I'll be here. Hopefully.
That would interest you, Conor Benn?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
You know, you fight in the UK, you get a lot of love over here.
I do. I really want to. That would be a dream come true. You know, I fought in all the places that I've dreamt of. This will be another one that'll be on my list, and I look forward to it. By the end of my career, or before my end of my career, I'm here.
Now, Teofimo Lopez and Conor Benn are both managed by Keith Connolly. Does that pose a conflict of interests? Could that be a problem? Because Teofimo seems open to fighting Conor Benn.
Now, maybe it would be somewhat awkward for Keith Connolly to have to represent two fighters that want to face each other, but it's still viable, it's still possible, if the money is behind it.
If it's a fight that Turkey El Sheikh wants to put together and the money is behind it, or Zuffa Boxing wants to put it together and the money is behind it, the money determines what happens and what doesn't. So long as the money is there, so is Keith.
So long as the money is behind it.
If for any reason they can't make it work between Conor Benn and Brian Garcia, they can then move off of that and then try to make it work between Conor Benn and Teofimo Lopez, who's still coming off that dominant decision loss to Shakur Stevenson, now campaigning as a welterweight. That's what he's rumored to be doing.
Now potentially moving over to Zuffa Boxing, that's what he's rumored to be doing.
He spent a lot of time over there at Top Rank, worked with Matchroom briefly.
I don't get the impression he's about to migrate over to the PBC or migrate over to Golden Boy Promotions. Zuffa Boxing seems to be the destination for Teofimo Lopez, and for him, it could be beneficial, it could be good, that change in decorum.
In keeping with the trend we've been seeing of Keith Connolly's fighters migrating to that side of the street in my previous video, we talked about how Teofimo Lopez could be another. What are his chances in a Conor Benn fight?
Pretty good.
Pretty fucking good, if I do say so myself. Teofimo Lopez yields some stylistic similarities to Regis Pagarius, who actually gave a good account of himself yesterday, albeit being the smaller, older fighter, fighting injured. He still was able to give a good account of himself against Conor Benn. So imagine a younger, fresher fighter.
Very similar style.
I don't think people realize that Teofimo Lopez's fighting style has a lot in common with Regis Pagarius's. They both fight out of a Philly shell. They're both boxer punchers, counter punchers, and they even have the same debilitations. On the front foot, they're not too good, but on the back foot and working off the counter,
that's when they're at their best.
Even if at times Regis Prograis seemed overwhelmed by the come-forward aggression of Conor Benn, bear in mind that this is a naturally smaller fighter who spent most of his career at 140, and he was 37 years old yesterday, fighting injured. Teofimo would not have those same handicaps.
Not all of them.
Oh, yeah, he would be naturally smaller than a Conor Benn. That he would be. But at 147, he'd be the fresher fighter. 147 for him would be a breath of fresh air, not having to cut that extra 7 to make 140 at 147. He's gonna feel like $1 million, whereas Conor's gonna be even more depleted than he looked yesterday.
Weaker than he looked yesterday. His punch resistance, even more sapped. There were a few moments in there in the Prograis fight where Regis landed flush and knocked Conor Benn off balance, buckled him, not enough to build on, but enough to get his attention. Teofimo could do better than that.
There's nothing good waiting for Conor Benn at 147. Now, he's making good money, very good money. He could make even more with Ryan. He could make even more with Teofimo in terms of his bank account, but in terms of his boxing, the next loss is right around the corner with either of those fighters.
You could still call it a win. That a fighter of such limited ability like Conor Benn could make that much money off his surname alone.
Off of nepotism, you could almost call Conor Benn Chris Eubank Jr. 2.0, because you've got the same thing going on, the same shtick.
Yeah, he's got options, and he can make money.
Even if he can't win an alphabet title, what else he's got in common with Chris Eubank Jr.?
Because Chris never won one either, and he's not about to.
The exact same thing might apply to Conor.